We have it right here.
Oh, you know what? We're already live.
We are.
Yeah.
Hola.
Buenos días.
Buenos días.
Buenos días, buenos días, buenos días. Good morning, my peoples.
Are we? Sounds anything.
I mean, I put it for public, and it says
we
live
are.
in the corner. Yeah. So we are live and direct.
I love it. I love it. I'm just messing with my settings right now so I can get into the chat.
It's the first one, so technical issue.
Yeah. First episode's trying things out. So I'm gonna kick it off. My name is Wes, born and raised in the Bronx, New York. Body to the end of me.
Nice and straight.
Yeah. Go ahead, Johnny. Talk about yourself real quick.
So my name is Johnny, or John, Jonathan, whatever you prefer. I was born in Aguadilla, Puerto Rico, 1989. So, old head kind of. Moved to New Jersey around age 3. Grew up there. Moved to Texas about 12 years ago. Currently here.
Texas?
Yeah, Texas. And now currently, soon to be back on the East Coast. Probably Pennsylvania.
Very soon.
Very soon. Next month.
Mira que chuchi. Oh my
God.
Wow. Who's next?
Fire.
Okay. At least we're keeping this short. I did not want to go first because I felt like my one was going to be immensely long. So I'm happy that I got examples to go before me, so I know how much I should say. But yeah, I'm Fire or Raul, whichever one is fine. Hi, Ray. I was born and raised in Puerto Rico. Lived there for my 18 years until I had to move out to the States to college. And now I'm currently in Ohio. I'll be back in Puerto Rico next month, so I'm really excited for that. And then I'll be living in France for a year, so that's
Last but not least.
Hola, ¿qué tal? Me llamo Melissa, pero puede llamarme Mimi. That's my nickname. Nací en Puerto Rico in Mayagüez. Oh, I hear a little bit of background. Who was that?
Oh, that was me.
I was born in Mayagüez, Puerto Rico. I've lived in the Bronx for a very long time in New York City. I lived in Florida, South Beach, Ocala, West Palm Beach, Jacksonville. I was everywhere in Florida. I'm now currently in Nevada, Las Vegas, but I'm actually going to be a Texan in 2 weeks. So, I'm going to be moving to Texas, quit my job. I said, F it, we ball.
You gave the notice already?
I did it, yeah. I gave them a month's notice at my job.
Wow.
Hi, Crystal.
You're too nice.
Hi, Ray.
You're too nice.
Yeah, dude, that's what all my coworkers were telling me. They were like, oh, you're too nice to be giving a month's notice. But I'm like, you know what, whatever. I don't want to burn bridges.
Truck
in the background.
Truck sent a bunch of hearts. So we are missing two members of our team, Truck and Lexus. Hopefully they could join us very soon. Very, very, very soon. Fire. I actually wanted to ask you a question because you live in Puerto Rico. You were born and raised there for a majority of your life, right?
Mm-hmm.
What's it like being over here in the States, in the diaspora? What do you see as a big difference? What's your experience like?
I mean, there's a lot of difference. U.S. is not the same as Puerto Rico in any way. I would say in terms of the people overall. I feel like most people that you talk to that are Puerto Ricans in the diaspora, they all miss the island or they all miss their roots and they'll want to kind of find a way to go back there. It's really interesting. There's definitely changes in opinion from what I've seen in terms of how things should be handled and managed. And so, I don't know, I think just a spirit and hope that they can one day return to the island overall. Meanwhile, people in the island, sometimes complain more than a lot of people here in terms of how bad things are over there. But,
That's true. That's a whole different topic. They complain a lot, but they don't want to do anything about it. Because they're so used to it. They're like, how do I say this? Es tan cómodo. They're comfortable. ¿Me entiende? So I lived in Puerto Rico since I was like what 11 or 12.
Mhm.
So there was always like issues like politics wise. There was always issues like our education, financially, but nobody ever really wants to put in the effort to actually make a change. That was my experience growing up there.
So,
So I would always sit like in the backyard with my abuelito, un cafecito, pan con queso, and it'll
mhm.
be him and all the old heads playing dominoes early in the morning, hablando mierda. And then they'll be like, oh, they'll be like, ay, pero esto es ridículo, Puerto Rico, tan malo ahora, and all that stuff. And in my head, I'm like, why don't you guys do something? You guys are adults, you know? Pero don't, they're comfortable.
It was like a lot of talk and no action.
Exacto. A lot. Yeah.
What's something that you guys wish that we could incorporate in the States that's really big in Puerto Rico?
More awareness. That's not mainstream.
Mm.
When you think about Puerto Rico, everyone thinks about like big booty, reggaeton, all that stuff. Like, let's be honest. Let's be honest. You know what I mean?
That's
So, like,
the big deal.
yeah, and a lot of people have this misconception that we're not part of the United States, we're not a Commonwealth,
Right.
so they're like, oh, do they even got a green card, etc. Like, bro, like, I'm American, unfortunately. So like my point of view aside, that's a whole different topic, but a lot of people, need to know how we came about. Like, how did we become Puerto Rican? How do we have Taino in us? Afro
Mhm.
Latino, Spaniard. They need to know about that. They need to know about our culture, and they're not aware of that. Like, we're much more than just reggaeton
Yeah,
and and big booty Latinas. You know what I mean?
I mean,
Yeah,
but that
fire.
is that is Fire is the biggest booty Latina we have. So
Ya tú sabes, you got the bubble wrap.
Hey, yo. I agree with the education sentiment overall. Like I don't know, Puerto Rico, like you grew up learning obviously a little bit about Puerto Rican history. You also take a couple of U.S. history classes and even global history, so you kind of learn a little bit from everywhere. And that's the thing. I feel like the U.S. feels like it's so big. They have so much history, like all the different things that they have to learn. They focus so much globally that Puerto Rico is just like a speck in their history to an extent. It's just another, not even a state for them. Um, and so I think in that aspect, it's kind of sad, right? Because a lot of people don't learn about it. And I've had to deal with kind of situations from that. I remember there was one time, I was going to like a place to buy alcohol, just like a normal like liquor store. And basically, the woman there didn't want to accept my ID from Puerto Rico at the time because it wasn't from a state. And so like
Oh,
the bouncer was like, "Oh no, Puerto Rico is part of the U.S. It's not a state,
mhm.
but it is part of the U.S." I remember this being part of something I learned in U.S. history class, which I was surprised. But she was like, "No, I've never heard of Puerto Rico. I don't think they're part of the U.S. or anything. You need to come back with your passport." So
That's
I had to
crazy.
like I lived like 3 minutes away, so I was like, I'm not gonna deal with this fight. I'm just gonna go get it. Um, Similar situation happened once. At a casino, which I don't like casinos. I'll make that disclaimer real quick. But I
Not
had a
me
friend
living in Vegas.
I had a friend who liked going, and they were about to all graduate, and so you're trying to like make the last fun moments with your friends that you can to an extent, college things, I guess. And so we went there once, no problems entering. The second time we went there, I think it was like 2 or 3 weeks later, and I go give them my ID, and they said that they can't accept it due to new policy. And I'm trying to ask like what the new policy is or like what's the reasoning or something. They can't disclose it. Like it's just something new, a new system for security that they set up. They didn't want to like really talk about it. We have to go
No.
to like the main entrance with the main security guard where he looked at it for a while. He was like, "Fuck it, go in." And so like it was just overall like it was around the time that people were having problems with their IDs for renting cars as well. So
Mm.
I don't know. It's just something that comes and goes. It's just sad that it's a situation that can happen to us. Um, and I don't know. I feel like it impacts us nowadays. I mean, I don't want to get too touchy into the subject, but obviously, people have been detained recently,
Yeah,
even as Puerto Ricans, which are American citizens. But
yeah,
yeah.
which is crazy. Yeah, Johnny, what about you? What's your experience like?
I guess just to bounce off of them, more history, because like Fire said, like Puerto Rican history is just like a tick in history
Hmm.
in like U.S. history. Like I didn't know anything, about like the Jones Act, about Christopher Columbus, the truth about Christopher Columbus. Like we grew up, making the turkeys with the
Yes.
hands. Like I didn't know all this until I was old enough, So then I could do my own research. So I wish that was more prevalent. Also, not knowing we're part of the U.S. Like, for example, I think I told you guys before, like just months ago, my coworker who's born and raised in Ohio, I think it was. He's like, I don't understand. He was in the military. He's like, I don't understand why there's so many damn Puerto Ricans over here. And I had to explain to him, I'm like, we're part of the U.S. Under the Jones Act. We serve in the military.
Yeah.
We just cannot vote. People from the island cannot vote for president and all that stuff. But
Which isn't fair in my opinion.
That's
But
wild to me.
yeah, I had to give him a whole lesson. He's 38. Like he went all his life not knowing that. So yeah, just more better education on that front.
It's a really weird thing, the whole voting process, because it's not necessarily like where you're from or where you were born. It's more where you're living at the time of the elections.
Yeah, so like if we were to move there, we wouldn't have any say.
If you move to Puerto Rico, you want to vote in Puerto Rico, you lose your right to the presidential vote in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Would we be able to do absentee ballots?
Yes, but you can't vote for both a state and a Puerto Rico. That would be election fraud. You have to choose either voting in Puerto Rico in elections or in whichever state you're in. If you vote for both, that's technically election frauding. Could get you arrested and all that.
It's
so don't
true,
do that.
Yeah, don't do it. We don't suggest it, y'all.
Quick disclaimer: don't. Do
Yeah.
that.
So for me, it was something definitely a tough decision because I've been living in Ohio now 6 years, and so we had a last election cycle last year where I could actually vote both on Puerto Rico through the absentee ballot, which affects like my family, my grandparents, my opportunities of going back there. But I don't get the chance to vote for president or vote here in the States for a state that I will not stay here much longer because I am moving. I'll come back hopefully, and also I'll vote for president. But then I can't help in any shape or form the Puerto Rican election, so that's a very tough decision to do. But yeah, it's not fun.
Yeah, can you imagine?
What's the Puerto Rican community like around where you guys live? Is it like big, loud, or is it like very minimal?
Bro is dead. In Nevada, it's nothing but rednecks. I'm telling you, it's dead. Like we only have one restaurant here in Nevada, and it's called Sofrito. It's overly expensive. The plates are small. The food ain't even flavored. Like there's no flavor at all whatsoever. Like there's no Puerto Rican presence here at all, and that's what I miss the most, being in the Bronx in New York City, because you can see it everywhere. Like you can see it in the bodegas, in your neighbors next door. Like you can feel the presence of your people, And over here, it's just Filipinos.
Wow. Shout out to Filipinos.
I love Filipinos. I love adobo. I love adobo, y'all. But it's just in the West Coast, it's just different. Like it's a different culture altogether than the East Coast.
What about you, Fire? How's it like?
I lived in Cleveland for 5 years, and the community wasn't that loud, but we did have a couple of restaurants that served Puerto Rican Dominican food, and it was actually pretty decently good. I liked it. One of them sadly closed, but I would say like it's I think it's like more hidden, like especially here where I'm currently at. It's not as loud, it's not as noticeable, but like when I go out, usually with like Hispanic nights or like Latino nights and all those kind of things, I do meet a couple Puerto Ricans. I do feel like there's a lot more people from a lot of different countries, and not necessarily like Puerto Rico, but I have met a couple Puerto Ricans, and it's really nice because like you quickly talk to them, they tell you that they're from Puerto Rico, and you automatically make a connection. But I have an uncle here who lives here in like 20-30 minutes away from me. And definitely, like, one of the things that he kind of mentions, just like how, it's not as noticeable. You can't really like find it unless you're really looking for it. So I wouldn't say it's dead, but at the same time, it's not really like super prevalent. But it's also partly because I'm in Ohio. Like, if it's New York, if it's Florida, I would feel like those communities
Yeah,
are Chicago, even maybe. I've
yeah,
heard that
I think
maybe,
Chicago a lot. Yeah,
yeah.
actually.
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Yeah. I have a
What
lot of
about
friends
you?
that are Puerto Rican in Chicago.
What about you, Johnny? How's it been?
About the same. I know in this town specifically, I've seen maybe one or two flags in like the 12 years living here.
Mhm.
Not including me and my brother. I know there's a small community in Houston actually, but that's about 3 hours away. I know there's one restaurant. They might have closed though, but I don't know. It's been maybe 2 years since I've been there. I did hear Dallas, up 6 hours away, had a their own Puerto Rican festival, so I'm not sure how that is over there.
Nice.
But
I'm
but I
moving near
did,
Dallas.
yeah, so I did see a post about it. It said like maybe 10,000 people participated.
Oh, that's dope.
But as far as this area, like South Texas, like it's like very minimal. I think San Antonio would probably be the best bet. But again, that's also like about 2 hours for me.
Yeah,
Um,
San Antonio didn't have nothing because I just went to San Antonio in December and they only had like one Puerto Rican restaurant, but I didn't see
mhm.
nothing Puerto Rican
Yeah,
culture
so
wise
it's
there.
yeah, so it's kind of like Fire said. Like if you're looking for it, you may find something, but it's not like in your face like New York or New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Chicago,
Mhm,
Right.
Florida.
mhm.
On the East Coast, because
Yeah,
we out here on the
yeah,
East Coast.
I saw
um,
that.
by me, like you could throw a rock in any 5 mile radius, and you're gonna find a Puerto Rican flag hung up somewhere,
Yeah.
and that's cool. But something that I've always struggled with, being born in the States over being born in Puerto Rico, is the identity crisis.
Mm.
Like, am I Boricua enough? Am I really Puerto Riqueño because I'm not there? All I got is like my handful of summers with my grandparents, and I know what it's like to sit on the marquesina,
Mhm.
watch them drink cafecito and talk their shit, drink their coffee, whatever. But I'm like, it's weird. That's something I've always really struggled with. You know,
Savannah just wrote Connecticut also has a large population, lots of Puerto Rican small businesses.
That is true. I forgot about
Well,
Connecticut.
Angelique. Hi, Angelique. Crystal, Ray, Della. Hi.
yeah.
I think I struggle with that when I moved from Puerto Rico to the United States, but it was quite the opposite. For me, it was I American enough? Because when I moved from Puerto Rico, like I had to perfect my pronunciation,
Hmm.
my grammar. I kind of had to understand their culture here in the United States and how they do things. Not everyone is as friendly, as homey. Like when you're in Puerto Rico, your family, like you don't even need to go food shopping. Like just go to a neighbor or something like that, or they'll always bring you food. Like they were just very like
Yeah.
hospitable. And like coming here to the United States, it was just shock to me because a lot of people were very abrasive, they were very mean, a lot of people were bullies, and I never really experienced that in Puerto Rico, you know. So for me it was quite the opposite. Like I had to kind of like mold myself into this culture, and I forgot my language and I forgot my culture because of it, you know.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
Just
what have you
so I
done to
could fit in.
reconnect?
Hmm?
What have you done to reconnect? Because you just said you feel like you
Well, I
forgot.
went there. I went there for college. I went to La Católica, UPR, in Puerto Rico for nursing. Yeah. So my mom, my grandma got sick, and my mom moved to Puerto Rico because she had to take care of her. So I actually went back in 2019 and 2010, and I
Mhm.
was there for like 2 years, 2.5 years,
Okay,
and that's when I truly connected back with my people, and I felt like I was home.
that's what's up.
And then after that, when I came back to the United States, I just made it a mission of mine personally to just always try to connect and always just try to have that with me, and kind of fix my identity crisis with that.
That's honestly really dope. That's
Hmm.
cool.
Yeah.
Cool. I wish I was born in Puerto Rico. I wish I could spend more time there,
Mhm.
as a kid because Like I speak super broken Spanish. Like Spanglish is my
Say,
primary language. you know,
Está bien.
so like I could understand more than what I could speak, and then I get in my head as I'm speaking, and then I start to stutter.
mm-hmm.
So like I limit myself when I'm talking in Spanish, and my favorite phrase will always be "huele bicho."
You
I
know
will
what,
say that to the death of me.
bro? Playing off of that, I actually have a funny story. When I went back to Puerto Rico when I was studying there in La Católica, I left one of my classes with one of my friends, and we went on her jeep and we went down to Boquerón. We
Hmm.
went to the beach there,
Hmm.
and we were walking the beach and everything like that. And she was talking to me in Spanish, and I was trying to learn her and everything, and like kind of like redevelop the pronunciation and stuff. And when we were walking, she was telling me, Meli, she was like, do you like seashells? And then I responded to her in Spanish, and I was like, sí, a mí me encanta caraculos. She was like, what? And I was like, yeah, caraculos. She's like, no, caracoles. And I was like, oh shit. I said butt face.
Oh shit! See that's prime example.
Bro, and then she was laughing. Everyone busted out laughing, but they were really nice. And they're like, no, say caracoles. I was like, oh my God. But like, I try to have a flow when I was responding to her, and I stumbled on it. I said, caraculos. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. Don't cancel me.
It's too late. Episode
I
one, we're
wish.
done.
That's the name. Forget the connections. It's gonna be called
Caraculos.
Caraculos.
Yeah. Still wrong. Caraculo.
Um, I feel like the identity thing is really important. I think it's a very common thing. Um, people from the island, I think like they don't acknowledge how big Puerto Rican is in several industries and like how many great things we've been able to achieve, even being such a small island.
Hmm.
And I think sometimes we feel less than or don't feel as proud, ironically, in
Hmm.
a way. Sadly, obviously, with a lot of the more recent things, people moving from the States to Puerto Rico for the financial benefits, for the paradise benefits of it all, has made it tougher to live there for some Puerto Ricans. And so it's sadly created like a bad sentiment towards people moving in just because they speak English, when in reality, like some of those are Puerto Ricans that are trying to go back to their roots and they don't deserve
Mhm.
that kind of hate. I mean, it was something that Alexis talked a little bit about, just, um, being in Puerto Rico, not feeling totally Puerto Rican compared to everyone else, and being in the United States and not feeling, um, like that you're missing out on Puerto Rico to an extent in that aspect. Um, so I don't know, I feel like that in a way that's kind of like one of the positive things about this server. You
Hmm.
can talk to people from the island, you can talk to people from the diaspora, and little by little reconnect and kind of figure out together where Puerto Rico can and should go,
Yeah.
and how we envision Puerto Rico being in the future.
It's almost like reclaiming. It's like reclaiming a bit of your identity that you know personally for me anyway, like that we've lost. You know, so it's
Mhm.
something I'm really really grateful for being in this server, being in this group. I'm loving it.
I, in my opinion, I feel personally like I feel like we should break that mold. I feel like we should feel like we have that claim both outside and inside Puerto Rico. You know what I mean? Like we should feel proud and still represent and still lift the island up from diaspora. ¿Me entiende? So like
Absolutely.
even though we're in the United States, that doesn't mean that we can't also help with their politics, help with their financial situation, help with like uplifting, educating people about our island, you know what I mean? Because at the same time we're still advocating for them, and I feel like we should still do that even though we're still not like in the island, you know.
Yeah.
Just because unfortunately when you're in the island you're limited. You can't do much. You don't have as many resources. But out
Right.
here in the United States we do, you know. So we should use that to actually empower our people and break that mold of like fear that's within both parties, you know.
Hmm.
And we should help them, and there shouldn't be any identity crisis. There shouldn't be any questioning of tu eres boricua, tu no eres boricua, you know what
Right.
I mean? Like I'm Puerto Rican and I'm gonna advocate for my island no matter where I'm at.
Right.
Hmm.
See, but that draws the another issue that a lot of people born on the island will dispute what you just said and saying that people not born on the island are not really Puerto Rican.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And that's always been a big conflict. And sometimes, again, personally speaking, that'll get in my head, and just
Mm-hmm.
like, am I really like like am I good enough to really represent Borinquen? Like, am I Bori? Like, am I really? You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
like that's a debate that I'm not really a fan of.
Yeah.
Because if you carry that love for the culture, that love for the island, the love for the people, the food, the music, all of that, you're fucking Puerto Rican. You know what I
Period.
mean? You know?
Period. O
You know?
sea.
Right. So that's something that's always been a big fight,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
I'm hopeful though,
Oh yeah.
because I feel like the thing is, when we go to the United States, sometimes it's forced. Like our parents are out there trying to make a better living. You know what I
Right.
mean? So we grow up with that culture, but we don't grow up with that passion to want to make
Hmm.
change for our culture. ¿Me
Hmm.
entiende?
Yeah.
We adapt to it, we accept it, but we don't grow from it, and we don't
Right.
help it grow, you know? So I feel like if we educate ourselves more on our island and on their politics and their culture, they have no choice but to accept us, because it's like we know our facts, you know?
Yeah. Absolutely.
We know the struggle. We know what you guys are going through. You know what I mean? So of course I'm going to advocate for it. And I feel like that might break the mold if we're just stubborn about it. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
And if we just continue doing it. But I don't know. I might be wrong. I might be too positive. I don't know. The fire smiling over there, so I don't know. He might say otherwise. I'll say, "Ah, come on. Well, what's the
No,
debate?"
I mean, I would say there's no way that you can please everyone. That's just kind of one of the things in life, you know. Um, Puerto Rican politics are so divisive already.
Mm,
Even though it's a small country, politics, they can get really divisive and really heated. And so,
yeah.
yeah, sometimes, it's ironic because like when there's a lot of different organizations in the U.S. that are like Puerto Rican related that advocate for different things. And I've seen it multiple times happen where like when it's an organization that it's something that you support for, they're advocating for something you do like, then you're like, okay, yay, like they're representing me. And then when it isn't, it's like, oh, why are they even commenting? They're not in the island. They shouldn't be like talking or
Yeah.
like deciding for us.
Yeah.
When in reality, they're not making decisions for you. They're just advocating for them.
Mhm.
Right. It's always a
Exactly.
hit or
But
miss.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Like you can't please everyone. It's just kind of reality of life and human nature. Um,
Yeah. There's always someone gonna be complaining.
Mm,
yes, exactly.
I understand because I'm a woman. I complain a lot, so yeah.
Oh my god.
I really do.
Oh shit. But I'm really grateful for the server and the community that we've built. Granted, we've had bumps in the road along the way, but I feel like we are on a very good pathway to really reconnecting and really building a nice foundation for what being being born in the diaspora really means. You know.
I agree. I definitely agree. I feel like this has been kind of healing for me because I moved from New York like what, 10 years ago,
Hmm.
and I haven't really had that familial type of presence out here in the West Coast. So when I got the link to join the Discord and I saw Lexus and everybody, and I had the opportunity to be part of the team and help the server grow, it just made me feel more at peace, like more, full, like
Mhm.
the glass full for sure. To be connecting with so many different people that have one thing in common. It's in our blood. Somos
Yeah,
Boricua. Yeah, no matter what.
absolutely. Johnny, what's your experience been since you've joined the Discord?
It's been alright. Nah. Nah, it's good.
And
Wow,
ban it right now.
Nah,
that's
I
crazy.
I
All
saw
right, cut, we're done.
I saw Alexis's TikTok, and then I was like, curious. I'm like, I've been looking for something like this, but it's never been anything like prevalent. Just kind of, little Discord here, little server there. But I came in, everyone was talking. It was a lot of different personalities, a lot of different people, and then I got
Thank you,
hooked.
Savannah.
Everyone's so connected. Yeah,
Thank
even
you, Savannah. We love you.
Thank you.
and then I eventually snuck my way into the team. Thanks, Mimi.
Oh,
And and so far it's been pretty positive. Like Wes said, there's been bumps in the road, but overall it's been pretty good. We've done 2 meetups. I know me and Wes personally. I know there's
Mhm.
been a Seattle meetup with
Yeah.
Rosita and some others. That's it for no. There's been some without us. Also, mostly in New York, honestly, but
hmm
Yeah.
still, there's people connecting, people that might not have interacted beforehand.
Right.
So it's just nice to see. And then people like we're all pretty similar but different, if that makes
Yeah.
sense. We've
Yeah.
got me who like works more like blue collar. We've got educators like Gigi and Angelique. We've got
Yep.
Fire who's doing fire things. I'm not gonna put his business out there.
We're gonna
Let's
say
But
go,
this series, A Body on the Moon, A Space Odyssey.
I don't want to
bro.
put his business out there, but yeah. And we've got the ones on the island too, like just all kinds of people from different walks of life that all have one similarity,
Yeah.
which is nice to see.
Don't forget the Boricuas that are doctors, nurses, medical
course.
field staff.
Of
Shout out
course.
to all the healthcare workers. Thank you so
For
much
real.
for everything, Boricua. You're
Yeah.
doing a lot for our community.
Absolutely.
I think that's probably the best part about this, is we have everyone from all different walks. Like
Mhm.
John just said, we would not have crossed paths if it wasn't for this server,
Yeah.
because we're so different in so many different ways, but we're all drawn together with the love of the culture.
Yeah.
So I think, yeah, I couldn't agree more.
Yeah.
Fire, what's your experience?
I was gonna say that realistically speaking, it's okay and normal to have bumps on the road. Realistically speaking, if you had told me that we ran a server that turned out to be perfect, managing 2,000 people, in a span of like 5 months, I would go crazy.
Yeah.
Because reality, that's part of it.
Yeah.
This Discord started in January, like this year. And so we quickly grew to the point that it was like, okay, there's a lot of people. How do we want to handle this? And like, realistically speaking, at the time, obviously Alexis can't be here with us today, who was the one who started it all. Much love to her.
Always.
But yeah, no, obviously, like she made this out of love, out of like trying to like create the community that people were asking for. And obviously, she did not have any Discord prior experience, so she was like kind of like, how do I do this? How do I handle this? And it was really
Uh-huh.
fun and nice, working on it together. Because me personally, I had been trying to like look for a Puerto Rican Discord for, I wouldn't say years, but I would say months for sure. Like beforehand, maybe even years. I wouldn't lie. And I joined all the ones that I had found, and it wasn't never what I was kind of looking for. A lot of them were inactive. A lot of them were people not talking that much. And there was one that like showed promise overall. And I was talking with the owner there for months as well, basically saying like, oh, we should take time to work on this. We should take time to work on this. And he would always say like, I'll eventually get to it, and they eventually never did. And so I was like literally on the verge of making my own server. And I was making one for a different thing, but also Puerto Rican related. I was like, I can just copy like the server template from here to there. And then I don't remember how it was. Oh, they posted it in one of the other old Puerto Rican servers that I was at that wasn't too active. Like, hey, I know that like we don't talk here anymore, but I know that we're all Puerto Rico, connected. There's a new server that's like popping, that's like new. And I think it was like 100 to 100 members at the time. Um, and yeah, no, I literally joined. I messaged them because it was clear, like noticeable for me quickly, like, they're just still setting things up. And I was like, if you want any help, just let me know. And somehow that quickly got me into the team, and I got lucky. And I've been trying to hear help ever since then. Um, and, it comes with its challenges. That's the thing. I would say, like, overall, you know, you can't ever please everyone. 2,000 people is a lot of people. That's a lot of
Different personality.
personalities.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Not everybody's gonna click together like a puzzle piece, but that's
No.
Yeah.
okay.
But at least we're here to facilitate the conversations, especially the tough ones. Keep them respectful, and try to make the most people that we can happy, enjoying our community, and continue growing. And ideally, like little by little, as we organize and can feel like we can achieve bigger things, and we can kind of see where life takes us.
Mm. That was beautiful, Fire.
Yeah, that was well said.
Also, sorry for the cough. I'm a little bit sick. It's been annoying me. But
I have my allergies really bad. Like, there's so much dust and pollen here. It's ridiculous. My allergies are terrible right now.
Listen, the change of weather in New York is disgusting. Yesterday, it was
I remember.
the day before it was 85, and I'm like, I'm tired. Leave me inside my house.
Yeah.
Let me know when it's a week of 95-degree weather, and I'll be okay. But
I don't
I
think I'm
forced
ready for
myself.
it. Huh?
I forced myself into the team.
Oh, you did.
The first meetup in April, I forced myself into the team. I'm like, yo, just make me a mod. Like, I'm already super. Like, do it. You want to?
It was hilarious the way it happened because it was like Knights of the Round Table. Like, we had the fire pit as the middle piece, and we were all around the fire pit.
Yeah.
It was like a initiation or something. It was crazy. And then they have a video of Wes when he finally got the access to everything. He's like this.
Oh yeah, I was scrolling that. I was
to catch up.
Everything. I have power.
Oh really? Okay, now that's what happened. Okay.
Oh man.
I think EXO too, right? When she finally joined our team as a mod.
Oh yeah.
She was looking at the logs and everything.
The way we added EXO, she almost had a heart attack.
Yes. Oh
Yeah,
man, you gotta tell the story. You gotta tell them.
So we have another member who's a mod, and we just made it seem like she was in trouble. Like, how could you do this? Why did you do this? You need to join us in a call right now. What is wrong with you? And she was like, what's going on? I'm going to throw up. I'm going to throw up. And I'm like, listen, how could you do this? How could you become a mod? And she goes, what? I'm going to fight all of you. And it was the funniest thing.
Hilarious. We all text her at the same time. And she's like, what do you mean? What are you talking about? Fire kept following Mimi though last one. Wait, when? When was he?
The fire bonfire.
Oh, the fire! Oh my god! Yes,
the fire, the actual fire.
Yo,
the actual fire.
Yes. I was like, what? I didn't know.
Oh shit!
Oh yeah, I was getting smoke. What did they call that when you're like smoke exhaustion or something? Or
inhalation?
You were getting smoked out because everywhere you went, for whatever reason, the flame just said, "Okay, there's Mimi."
Yeah.
You went to the other side of the backyard. Nope, I'm going this way. I'm going that way. Yeah, it was. I don't know why, but that flame was attached to you. Like,
there was something going on there. Some brujeria. En serio.
Definitely.
Because you tried so hard to light that freaking pit, and when you bounced, that's when it went whoosh, and we're like, oh no.
He doesn't like West.
I have a video. Yeah, that was crazy.
Listen. I know that's a whole nother episode, when we hit the spirituality aspect of things. But yeah, I got my little, yeah.
Santera. No,
we're going to talk about everything. We're going to talk about everything and anything that's related to the culture, and I know some of those conversations are going to be very uncomfortable for some people, but you can't deny what is embedded in us. It is what it is. We Puerto Ricans dabble in a little bit of everything when it comes down to the science, technology, the religions, and especially when it comes down to the deeper spiritual aspects of it. Like we're in there, we're in every aspect of whatever society has to offer. And I think that's really beautiful because we impact everything. We dabble with everything. We inspire certain things, and it's really fucking cool. I think it's really cool.
Trying to think if there's one industry that I do not know a Puerto Rican in, and all the other ones I can think of people who have worked there or are working in that industry right now. Like we're everywhere.
Like Google says, we're top tier humans. Per Google, we're top tier. Okay, just saying.
We out here.
Yeah, we out here.
We're the perfect human.
mete mano, we put everything
Girl.
in it, even from the Hollywood industry, from music, acting, visual arts, all of that stuff,
Culinary.
you know,
Culinary as well. Yeah. Everything.
big on the culinary,
Don't make
Yeah.
me hungry.
listen.
It did feel like a Harry Potter acceptance letter getting asked.
Yes, Leia
That
is
is so true.
one of our council members. She's a big help when it came to inspiring designs for the website. She helped
Mhm.
out a lot with that, gave a lot of inspiration. So you know,
Shout out
thank
to Della. We love you.
Shout
thank
out.
you for that. Yeah, but speaking of members and stuff that we have a teacher who straight up teaches us
Hmm.
Spanish.
Hmm.
And I think that's beautiful because
Amazing.
you know
Yeah.
a lot of us are no sabo kids, you know
Yeah.
so that helps. Again, it goes back to the reconnecting and reclaiming your identity thing, so that's a big thing, you know
Hmm.
I also
Oh,
Mhm.
think like
Ashley, she's the best teacher. She
I'm
is.
like,
She's
Yeah.
the
yeah.
best teacher.
yes,
She's very patient. Like,
I would also say like the fact that like she's taking 3 hours of her week to do it because she doesn't only do it once a week. She does it 3 times a week.
mhm.
She kind of changes like what the class focuses depending on the day, and she also does it for free. Like
Yeah,
realistically speaking, it's a free resource. Realistically speaking,
it
that's like
really
for
is.
good.
yeah,
Like I don't think there's any harm in any way of learning Spanish.
Mhm.
And I mean, I've personally gotten lucky to an
Hmm.
extent because like one of the few things that like I've done since moving here to the United States is trying to find other Spanish speakers, and so that
Mhm.
has helped me keep my Spanish somewhat like constantly normal.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Um, but yeah, no, definitely. Like I feel like when I started, like I remember our reaction as a younger, smaller mod team, like realizing that she was willing to like take on this role of
I
teaching
remember.
3 times. It was just like, wait, what? That's amazing. Like, yes. Like, why would we say no?
Yeah.
And she's been great. So, uh, yeah, definitely super happy and thankful for her. I
yeah.
think she brings something great to the server.
Oh,
Also, shout out to Ray as well for our book club. We have a book club in our server that touches on Puerto Rican culture and books, and it's a big turnout. A lot of people join, and there's some great educational and fun conversations that happen during that book club. So, again, thank you, Ray, for hosting that and keeping that going as well. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah,
And if
yeah.
you don't join and you skip, we'll go look for you.
Yeah, we'll
Oh,
ban you. The ban list. Oh, I also have a walking event as well in the
Yes.
yeah.
server. So I'm in a lifestyle journey myself. I'm currently trying to lose weight, be healthier, and I thought a great idea to kind of bond within the community and the server would be for us to go on walks together. So every Saturday, I'll do a poll and we'll pick what time is good for everybody, Eastern Standard Time, and I'll make a playlist. People can give me like suggestions on songs they would like to hear. It will be for 30 minutes, and we all get our hearts pumping, do cardio, listen to music, and kind of chit chat and bond and vibe together as well. So we have that event going also that I'm really proud of us
Yeah,
supporting each other with that wellness journey. So yeah.
absolutely. We have a nice plethora of events going on within the server, and you know
Mhm.
and we have more YouTube videos planned for the future, more interviews planned.
Yeah.
You know,
So
yeah,
Meetup too.
yeah. I'm gonna try to organize another meetup for us later on towards the end of August, right before
My
September.
birthday.
So I want to try to go to, like, I don't know, rent a cabin by a lake in the Poconos, or even go
That'll be
further
nice.
towards Boston or something. So that way we could all be together and just have like a Puerto Rican Discord weekend of us just hanging out, whatever have you. Or even go to fucking Virginia Beach type of thing.
Mhm.
So we're gonna have some options, you know.
That's on the ban list.
Oh,
quick clarification: that doesn't mean you're actually banned. It's just a joke.
No, no, no. Yeah,
Disclaimer, legal disclaimer.
yeah. Legal
I
disclaimer.
miss you too.
Yeah. So we have a lot of things in motion. We have a lot of moving parts. Um, the most recent one, I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this one tomorrow, but there is a protest at the UN
Mhm.
for a free Puerto Rico, and I have all my camera equipment and everything. The only issue is I don't have anyone to come with me because
It's gonna
protests,
be intense.
right?
Yeah.
Protests get a little rowdy, and if I had another partner to come with me, then I would definitely go. If I could find someone to go with me, but if not,
Mm.
then just retweet some clips and call it a day from there,
Mm.
type of thing. But I definitely have an interview coming up with a LGBTQ activist. She's out in the Bronx. She's known as Apollonia Cruz. She is also known as the Queen of the Bronx. She's body. She's all about people being who they are, people being themselves while representing the culture as well. You know, and we speaking of Florida, there is a Puerto Rican Day parade in Florida. I forget when. I think it's in April, if I'm not mistaken, in Orlando. I would like to try to facilitate something for all of us to get there as well at some point.
Can we do Florida? I would love to go back and visit Florida. I have a lot of family and friends in Florida, so it would be really nice to actually, go there and see everybody. So I'm down for Florida for sure.
I'm for it all. I'm
Mhm.
for all of it. But yeah, and we have Comic Con coming up to
Hey.
meet with the Boricua verse. You
Mm-hmm.
know, their cosplays are fucking beautiful.
Hmm.
Especially Boricua Lorian, the way she put the flag all over the Mandalorian gear. I think
Yeah.
it's really good.
I
You
also
know.
like to. I want to point out she lightened the blue. I guess after learning some more history,
Mhm.
she did like tease that, and then I guess debuted that at the New York Comic or New York Parade.
Oh,
Kind of hard to notice, but it was there. Like she for sure shifted all that blue over. That was nice to
Mhm.
see.
huh. That's
Mm.
cool.
She's
I
in
like
our
that.
server too, the Boricua Lorian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's quite a few of them.
Yeah, so just FYI, Boricua Lorian is in our server. Also, Toñita's daughter
Mm-hmm.
is in our
Yes.
server as well. So we have a lot of influential people that are part of our
Yeah.
server that we're really grateful for. Oh, they have a Sunset Festival in February?
Ooh. In
I
Florida,
didn't
you
know.
didn't
I didn't
know?
know
No
Florida
me
did
jode.
that. I didn't. I didn't that's
Wow.
dope.
If you can't make it for the Puerto Rican one, you can go to the one in Florida.
Yeah,
I
we
don't
can
know
do
if
the
it's
one in
the same
Florida.
thing at
I
all, but
love Sunset in Puerto Rico.
yeah, I know
It's so
it's
fun. Oh my God. Oh, I
it's
miss
been a
it.
damn. I think the
Oh,
last one I went to was during high school, but
the last one I went to was in 2010.
okay,
It was
yeah.
a while ago.
I've never been to a Sansei festival.
Bro,
I feel like I'm missing
it
something
is
out.
it is lit. It is
If
See,
you want
lit.
to
this
get
goes
drunk
back
and
to
Fun.
the
stupid early,
cultural.
yes.
Yeah.
This goes back to the cultural identity issue. I've honestly never heard of Sansei until I joined the server. To be honest,
Really?
yeah,
Oh.
I've never heard of Sansei till I joined. So that it backtracks to the cultural identity issue
Yeah.
because like okay, so you know what I mean?
I
Yeah.
find something
It's
funny because, sorry,
Go on. No, no, go.
no, I find something funny because it's like it started, as this religious
Mm-hmm.
festival thing, like a long
Hmm.
time ago, and nowadays people like just think about it of like let's go get drunk in the middle of the day and so on and just be walking. And I mean it still has a little bit of a cultural aspect which I do
It
like. So
does.
like a lot of artisans are there,
A lot of
selling their
dancing. Hmm.
things. There's also a couple of musicians which are really cool to hear
Mm.
and listen to. um, but yeah, obviously now alcohol has a more focus now. I mean that's the thing, Puerto Ricans drink socially.
Yeah.
It's
So
just potions. They're
I
potions.
mean, we always have an excuse to like party.
Is there?
Like
I know,
literally,
right?
our holidays are so long. I think we're the only Latinos that have long holidays. Like we have Three Kings, Christmas,
Mhm.
sunset, everything. Like they last months. Our celebrations, like it's crazy.
I think there was someone that argued because I remember Puerto Rican ad was saying that we had the longest Christmases of the world,
We
and
do.
so someone like really researched this and was like technically no because there's this other country that starts here and ends there, Like
Oh,
depends on
really?
when you want to start messaging it, but
Mm.
it's not a competition, you know. I feel like Christmas in Puerto Rico are just different regardless. You know, you have the nice warm weather, the nice climate. You know, people are just happy, parrandas and everything, like the music, la coquito,
Sí.
pitorro. Like it's just different.
Pitorro, pitorro.
Oof.
Pitorro de coco.
I'm I'm making my own pitorro.
Really?
Dangerous.
Yeah,
Bro.
I looked up how to do it, so I'm
Nice.
making. I'm
Okay.
gonna make, and it's
I
gonna be
don't
a fun.
drink, but I would drink pitorro de coco for sure.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
And I'm
gonna do two. I'm gonna do the coco, and I'm a sucker for passion fruit.
mm,
So I'm gonna do one the coco and
yeah.
one of passion fruit,
Qué
and just
rico.
yeah.
Bro, when I
Hello,
go to Puerto
Angela. Welcome. Buenos días, mi gente.
That's
yeah.
that's Angie.
When I go to Puerto Rico,
That's
one of the
Angie. That's
first things
that's
Huh?
sorry.
when I go to Puerto Rico, one of the first things I buy, it's like those litters, like I don't know if it's a liter or a quart, whichever is the smaller one.
¿Cuál?
That's like of passion fruit juice.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
I'll just buy it, have it with me at my place. Sometimes just drink it like a
Mm-hmm.
normal juice. Sometimes mix it with drinks. There's
Yeah.
a thing that I learned how to make, which I kind of makes like frozen lollipops. So I would sometimes like
Oh,
make
qué
frozen
rico.
lollipops of passion fruit juice, and like it's just one of my things that like I land on Puerto Rico. That's one of the first things I want, just because like here in the United States, like I've tried so many different passion fruit juices, and it's just not the same. So I'm
You
just
know
like,
what's my thing when I go to Puerto Rico? The first place I go to is Rico Mini. I go to Rico Mini and I get a quesito. I love quesitos. They're my favorite. They are my favorite. So that's the one thing I go like as soon as I hit there, I tell like my family like vamos pa un Rico Mini. I need to get some quesitos. I like the guava and cheese puffs. They're so good. Oh my god, they're so good. Pastry, Puerto Rican pastry is top tier. Period.
pacha mojitos.
Oh, parcha
Parcha.
mojitos. That's so good, yo. I haven't had no breakfast, yo. I'm hungry.
Honestly, you
Yo,
started talking about cuisine, and I was like, oh no, don't make me hungry.
listen. I know when you get off the airport in San Juan, there's a like a off back road lechonera that they have the whole pig roasting on a spigot. And as a kid, I used to go there all the time. I don't know if it's still there. I haven't been to Puerto Rico in about over 15 years,
Mm.
and I remember it's a yellow banner, and it's open concept. Like rain or shine, no matter what, it could be downpouring. They out here chopping that pig up, and the smell, the smell.
Oh, look, the bestie's there. Hi, Zoro. He said Wepa was good. Welcome.
Yeah.
What about you,
Johnny,
Johnny? Like,
is it church?
have you been to Puerto Rico, Johnny, or no?
Yeah, I used to go often
Oh.
after my grandparents passed away. I
Mm.
know one of my favorite memories is waking up early in the morning and my grandmother serving me café con leche
Ay,
at,
qué rico.
at the humble age of 6 years old.
Bro, yes. Yo, I'm not the only one. My grandparents put me with coffee since I was 8. 8 years
Yep.
old. Mira, toma un cafecito, pan con
Yeah.
queso, huevo. That's it. Like, that was a staple breakfast for me when I was little in Puerto Rico.
I
Oh
think
my
that's
god! And people would not believe me. They're like, "You drink coffee at 8 years old?" I was like, "Yeah, that's a Puerto Rican thing."
Yeah.
that's the only
really
reason I
is.
don't drink coffee nowadays. I tried it. I was so young. I tried it once, and I was like, "Oh, gross." And I haven't tried it any since. Now people are like, "How did you survive college without coffee?" And I was like, "It's disgusting." Like, what do you
No.
mean?
I mean, I guess it depends.
Yeah.
I was a child then, you know. I just didn't like it, and so mentally, I still have that scar memory of like why my grandmother gave that to me out of the blue.
hmm
Yeah, that's how
Oh,
it goes with Malta. I guess another like
I love
staple
Malta.
food when I get there. I need a pastelillo, beef pastelillo with
Mhm.
cold Malta. It has to be cold.
I can't
Yeah.
drink Malta. I
It's
can't.
so
I
good.
can't drink
Really?
it. I can't.
Bro, I love
Me
Malta.
either.
Malta, India is my favorite, and it was actually they made it in where I was born in my OS, and I love Malta, India. It's so good. I don't like the Goya. The Goya is fake. Don't do Goya.
Mm.
Malta,
Listen,
India. If you try Malta,
Yeah.
Malta, India, and it has to be cold, not hot,
Freezing.
cold. Yes.
I saw a take on Malta that you add some condensed milk to it, and it's supposed to change the flavor so it's not as malty, but it's still creamy and refreshing. So
Really?
I want to try it just for the sake of trying it. But other than that, I cannot do a Malta. Malta is para la basura para me because I can't do it.
Wow.
What?
I feel
Can't do it.
offended.
Nah, you just get the pastelillo, the Malta, the soggy ass
Yes.
napkin. You
Yes.
gotta have the
Yeah.
soggy napkin.
Wait, Johnny, is it
Bro.
a
I work
pastelillo or a
with Johnny like
panadilla?
I'm crazy right now.
Pastelillo all day.
Yeah.
Oh
She
man.
said,
I don't
my
know what
mom doesn't
empanadilla
drink
is.
coffee. She took me to Puerto Rico and my tia gave me café con pan. Oh.
No, it's just like a dumb debate that happened, I think, like 2 years ago, where people were arguing if things were pastelillos or panadillas. And it was just so
Oh,
dumb
we
and it was
always
so
have that
hilarious.
debate, bro.
Yeah,
Always.
We just had that a few days ago with
Yeah,
with Xavier.
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 Xavier. No, Xavier is bringing up the pegado con con, and he's like,
Oh.
no, it's con con. Con
No,
con
es
con que
pegado.
con que es pegado.
Exacto.
Pepadito, because that's you hear the spoon.
Yeah.
That's the Dominican him though.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was about to say.
He's
Is the
learning his-
Dominican in him.
Yeah. So he's playing devil's advocate for both sides.
For real.
But
I mean,
I
he
think-
has a good mix though. He's best of both worlds.
Honestly.
Dominicano and Puerto Riqueño.
Yeah.
That's either way you get mofongo.
Taíno. I think this is a good spot to end the stream. Thank you guys. This was fun. Thank you for everyone who was watching. Next Sunday we will be here 11 a.m. Some of us will be here. I know, prior
I gotta
engagement
work.
things are going on. So
I will be here.
unfortunately,
I have work.
okay.
I'll be moving out of this beautiful place, so this will be my one and only time that you'll be seeing me from this angle point of view, at least for time future wise. I'll be trying to join from Puerto Rico in the month of July, and then figure out which backdrop I'll show you of France, just in the background. Just flexing it.
Exciting.
I'm telling you, there's so many fucking chronicle stories about you to be posted. Like, you gotta get a gimbal, a vlogging camera. I want to track your life.
I'll try and figure out how much I can show in that beautiful scenery.
Yeah.
But yeah, also plug in the social medias, like it, subscribe it, share it, follow us on our different social medias. That way you can keep up to date.
I'm gonna get social media. I was against social media for a long time because of my mental health, but I feel like I'm getting a little bit better. So I think I'm gonna join gradually, slowly.
Absolutely.
Get back into social media. So I'm gonna create accounts and stuff like that and follow my Boricuas, my fellow Boricuas.
Absolutely.
Next Sunday I won't be here because I have a long shift at the hospital. So I'm gonna be working. But that will be my last week at my job. And then after that, the next episode I'll be in Texas. So you guys will see me then. I'll be on the 3rd episode, but not the 2nd.
That's cool. But thank you guys again for taking time out of a Sunday morning, because it's Sunday morning. Nobody wants to really do shit. But thank you guys.
I'm gonna make some food because I'm hungry.
Yeah, bro. All right, y'all. I hope everyone has a good day. Those watching, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe.
Yeah. Bye, guys. Love y'all.
Bye-bye.